Ride along each week as we share proven strategies to strengthen your business, energize your team, and create the business success you've been dreaming about. And now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Are you using the concepts of profit first in your business? Welcome to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up Podcast, where our one and only goal is to help you tune up your business so you can have the long-lasting success and fulfillment that comes from owning a solid, profitable, and sustainable business. Each week, we dive deep into a single topic related to improving your business, improving your team engagement, or improving your relationship with your customers. This week, I want to talk about profit. That's right, I want to jump to the bottom line of your business. And specifically, I want to dig into whether you're making the kind of profit that you think you should be in your business. I realize this may be getting a bit personal, but let's face it. I bet that one of the big reasons you're a business owner and not just an employee working for some other business owner is because you want to make your own decisions, chart your own course, and control your own future. A big part of why you're a business owner is probably because you know that as the business owner, you have an opportunity to make far more income than you would if you were just an employee. So is that your reality? Are you in fact making the kind of personal income that you think you should as a business owner? If not, this episode may be just what you need to fix it. It's why my question for you this week is, are you using the concepts of profit first in your business? You may not even know what profit first is or what it means. And if that's the case, we'll remedy that in just a few minutes. But first, why should this matter to you? Here's why. Most business owners I meet run their business in the traditional way. And by traditional, I mean they look at their business and think about their business from their CPA's or their bookkeeper's point of view. The traditional way of thinking about the financials of a business are to start with top-line revenue, then subtract the direct costs associated with creating the product or delivering the service. These direct costs are typically called costs of goods sold, which makes sense because these are the direct costs that are required to produce the goods, the products or services that are sold to your customer. What's left over after you deduct your cost of goods sold from your revenues is called your gross margin. This is the margin, what's left over after you've paid for your direct cost of providing your goods. The gross margin is not profit, however. You still have to account for your other expenses in the business. These are often referred to as SG&A, or your sales, general, and administrative expenses. These expenses would include things like your office staff, your salary, your benefits costs, your rent, your marketing expenses, travel expenses, computer expenses, support fees, and other costs you incur just to keep the business going. These expenses are not directly related to the production of the product or service you provide your customer, but they are necessary and typically occur whether you sell one item or 100 items. These are simply part of the cost of operating a business. When you subtract these SG&A expenses from your gross margin, you get your pre-tax profit, or what sometimes is called net income. You might think you get to keep this as a business owner, but remember, this is pre-tax, meaning you have to set aside some of the monies to cover the tax bill you will have at the end of the year. Only when you allocate some of your pre-tax profit to cover your tax liability do you get to your net or after-tax profit. This then becomes what the business owner gets to keep. This is the benefit of owning the business. In the traditional way of thinking about business finance, you, the business owner, are at the bottom of the list, and you get to keep only what's left after everything else has been taken care of and accounted for. Does this make sense? I'm sure you could run this by your CPA and they would agree with me. They may use some slightly different terms or language, but essentially, this is how they would suggest your business works financially. But there's a different way to think about your business finances, and I believe it's a better way for a business owner to think about their financials, and that's the profit first way. I didn't come up with this idea. It was created by a guy named Mike Michalowicz. If you're not familiar with Mike, here's a quick biography. He was born and raised in New Jersey. He got a degree in finance and another in management science. He's founded and sold 2 companies. He currently owns 6 companies, and he's written 8 business books. Perhaps his most well-known book is titled Profit First, where he outlines his thinking on this profit first idea about business finance. I met Mike several years ago and was super impressed with his quick wit and his different thinking about how to make business more profitable. I could make this a really short podcast episode and simply tell you to go buy and read his book. But since we're already here talking about it today, let me share a few of the ideas and concepts with you to get you thinking more about how this might work for you and your business. The really short explanation of how Mike thinks differently about business finance goes like this. The old way is sales minus expenses equals profit. Mike's way of thinking about business is sales minus profit equals expenses. Think about that for a minute. It's very simple, but very profound. The idea behind profit first is that after you sell your product or service, the very first thing you should do is set aside your profit. Then manage your business expenses to fit into whatever's left over. Rather than selling your product or service, then covering your expenses and hoping there's something left over for profit, he flips the priority. It's so simple that I often wonder why so many business owners don't do it. And my bet is you're one of the ones who isn't thinking about your business in this way. But let me continue and give you some practical steps to make the change in your business. Mike introduces the idea of using small plates for his sales revenue. Rather than dropping all sales dollars into a single account, he suggests setting up multiple bank accounts, one for profit, one for owner's pay, one for taxes, and one for operating expenses. As revenue comes into your business, rather than put 100% of the money into a single account, he recommends you allocate a portion of the revenue to each of these 4 accounts. For example, if you received $1,000 in revenue, you would put 10% or $100 into your profit account, 20% or $200 into your owner's pay account, 15% or $150 into your tax account, and then put the remaining 55% or $550 into your operating expense account. By doing this, you set aside money for your profit, your paycheck, and your future tax payment, and you limit your operating spending to what's left. Brilliant! I've helped several business owners set up this profit-first thinking in their business, and to be honest, it's difficult in the beginning. Oftentimes, we have to start with very small allocations to the profit and owner's pay account. In fact, Mike includes a table in the book that gives you an idea of what your target percentages might be at different revenue levels, so you can model your percentages as your business grows. And once you begin controlling your expenses in the business to just the portion of the revenues that are in the operating account, you can slowly but surely increase the percentages you're setting aside into these other protected accounts. I've recommended to my clients that they use a different bank for their profit and tax accounts. That way, it's even more difficult to make transfers from one account to another. The idea is to remove the temptation to tap into these accounts that are set aside. By moving them or making them difficult to access, the urge goes away, and instead, you'll find a way to limit your spending to what's left in the primary operating account. Mike goes into much more detail in his book, and I consider it a must-read for any of my clients. Once you get the idea in your head, it's hard not to think about doing your business this way. Think about it. How cool would it be that no matter what happens on the sales side of your business, you're making the percentage profits that you had always hoped and dreamed about? How cool would it be that when tax season comes around, you're not scrambling to find the funds to pay the tax bill? How cool would it be that rather than paying yourself only when the business can afford it, you get paid a solid salary every pay period? Is it possible? Absolutely. Will it take some hard work and some effort? Of course. Will it be worth it? No question. It will change how much you enjoy your business. So your assignment is to get the book, Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Read it and begin applying the principles in your business. Even if you take a few of the ideas and put them in place, you'll find that you have much more direct control of your business financials, and that's a very good thing. As always, if you have specific questions or would like to bounce around some thoughts on this topic, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I firmly believe that every business owner should make a profit from the hard work they put into their business. And if you decide to share some of those profits with your team members, even better, because they'll help you grow your profit pool even faster. Last thing, share this podcast episode with your fellow business owners. We all struggle trying to make our business financials work. I can't think of one business owner who wouldn't be interested in locking in a higher percentage of profits. You can help them do that just by simply sharing this podcast with them. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss what we can learn from professional cycling teams. You won't want to miss it. Meanwhile, if you have a question, suggestion, or would simply like to connect, shoot me an email at rich@tourtoprofit.com. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, find more resources at tourtoprofit.com and connect with Rich by sending a message to rich@tourtoprofit.com. Until next time, ride hard.